So what is post-production and video editing? Today we're going to dig into what you need to know and be aware of when you have a video production project when it comes to post-production and video editing. If you are hiring out an e-learning company, a video production company, whatever it is, and you have videos being made for you, maybe you have someone on your team creating videos, you are going to need to know what you need to be involved with once everything has been produced and we're moving to post-production, which is video editing and everything else we go through today.
And we understand that hiring a video production company could be extremely expensive,
It can be.
which is why we have a
And
free gift for you.
time-consuming, honestly.
In this free gift, it is a
done
free
wrong.
9-step guide that will teach you how to create highly engaging training videos without the need of hiring a professional video production company. It's linked below. It's our gift to you.
It is our process that we use internally to build out all the content you see on our YouTube channel, and the same process we use to build out amazing content for our clients. And really the goal here is to take all of the stress and time that people usually have to put into the process and cut it in half. Here's the deal though. When we're talking about post-production and video editing, this can be a very arduous process.
Look at that vocabulary.
Arduous.
Wow.
Tough.
Tough.
Hard.
And not just
Time
tough or
consuming.
hard, but it also could be very discombobulated. People overcomplicate it
Yeah.
all the time. We are going to break down how we simplify it, make it super efficient, so you, your team, and your clients are always on the same page.
So whoever's creating the videos for you, the first step in post-production is you want to see a rough cut. Now, a rough cut. Rough cut. Now, you want to see as few rough cuts as possible. So what you need to do is when you get that first rough cut, you are going to give feedback on it, all right? So your team, maybe the independent contractor, the video production company, the e-learning production company, whoever created that rough cut, this is not a final cut, all right? And what this means is that whoever's creating this first has to have the mindset of like, this thing is gonna get torn apart, and it needs to, and that's what happens. When you give feedback, you wanna give feedback on that rough cut and be extremely critical. You need to be critical.
And another thing about this rough cut that you have to understand is that you don't have to make the whole entire thing.
Exactly.
For example, when we're creating 10, 15, 20-hour e-learning programs,
Boom.
we don't create all 20 hours.
You're not gonna look at all 20.
Absolutely. We're gonna start with a 3-minute or a 2-minute video piece to really understand
Preach.
the flow, to understand how your
Let's
learners
go.
are engaging with it, to make sure that the people involved in the process, the subject matter experts, the team, your client are happy with it. Keep it simple, but be very, very critical
Yes.
so you can streamline the rest of the process.
The more critical you are with this first cut, and as Hector said, we want to start small, so start small. So if you have, a 20-hour program, start with 5 minutes. Be extremely critical on those 5 minutes, because this is the time in the process where you are very agile. You can make changes easily, okay? And that's like, if you were the one creating the rough cut, don't create it in a way where you can't make changes to it easily. That is a huge mistake creators make. You need to make it very agile because you want it to be torn apart. Don't be offended, because the next step is, once we get done with creating all the rough cuts, when you work with us, we usually top out at 2 or 3 max. And it's not because we're assholes and we're like, no, you don't get to give us any more feedback. It's because we're so good and we have our clients be extremely critical on that first cut that usually they just need to see one more cut, and then we move to the final cut. Now, the final cut, this is really important. Once we're at the final cut, we can't be making a ton of changes, right, Hector?
Absolutely.
And why is that?
Because
If we have 20 hours,
it's gonna take us forever and it's gonna cost us a bunch of money, which we're gonna backtrack here for a second. One of the secret sauces here, the thing that makes all this, make it very easy, is understand who your team is, who everyone is involved.
Exactly.
Because by understanding everyone who's involved, we're talking about your team. We're
Like,
talking
who
about
needs to
your
look at
client.
the rough cut?
We're talking about the person, your client, that maybe they have a person that has 1% say on this. You need to understand all parties involved to have a seamless communication flow. So when we're moving to the final cut, we didn't forget about Julie and Bob and Sandy that have influence, and then we have to go back and redo everything. So you really have to understand who's involved in the entirety of the project, at what part they should be involved at in order to push this thing from point A to point Z without any bottlenecks and without what many people in the video production world have experienced, which is they get to the finish line, but maybe Sandy or Bob, some higher up, hasn't seen it yet. They see it and they want to redo everything.
That wastes everyone's time and money. Time is probably the most important thing that's wasted. So Judy, Bob, Rick, L. Ignatius, Xanderocious needs to see the first rough cut. We know that you're like, oh, I don't want to show Cindy the first rough cut because we want to make sure that it's really good before we show it to Cindy. Show it to Cindy. Let her destroy it. I hope she does, because it makes everyone else's job much easier. So when we actually have that final cut, they're not seeing it for the first time. They're seeing it and they're like, oh, wow. They listened to me.
Next is approval. You all like that green check mark. Next is approval. Now we are ready to get that green check mark from the client, and we are ready now to upload it if it's a learning management system, if you're creating an e-learning program or online course, if it is on YouTube, whatever delivery system that your client is using for that specific video, it is ready for that.
Yeah, and really in this phase, the final cut, the only thing that a final cut should have changed is either the video format, right? So the type of video file that's gonna be exported and uploaded into an LMS or whatever you're using the video for. And then the second thing is maybe there's some wording in the video you want changed. Maybe you want a text graphic added, like very minor stuff. We're not talking about, oh, we need this whole new scene and all this stuff. So that's what we're talking about, approval. The final cut is really showing, hey, this is everything. And then Cindy's like, you know what? I want this changed, like this piece of wording right here. Instead of it saying this, I want it to say that. And you're like, okay, I can make this say that. We'll just, we'll go from this. And I'm like, okay, we're gonna go that. Perfect. Now we go back to Cindy. She approves it, and then we get to deliver it.
Which is the fifth and last thing is How do you spell delivery? Delivery. I did it. All right. That is post-production video editing. Now remember, if you are looking to develop highly engaging videos, specifically training videos, we have a free gift for you, which is a free 9-step guide that will teach you to do exactly that. It is linked below. Go take that free gift. It is from us to you because we love you. And
give us them likes and subscribes, man.
Thank you.